spiritual beings in a physical. Our thought creates reality, and we're all connected. This is the basics of what a human being is. I always start the video that way. Now, I was going to say that there is in this world, look, okay, I'm going to say it this way. There is a saying from a movie, I think it's called The Usual Suspects, the movie, and there's a line in it, I can't quite remember it, but it essentially means this. The greatest trick that the devil ever played essentially is the denial of his existence. And this is what occurs to me now, that essentially the reason that, and this was true of my life also, because even if you had asked me, for instance, what do you think about religion? What do you think about Jesus Christ? Because I'm from a Christian kind of world, okay? And I would have said, well, I could easily believe in Jesus Christ, in that particular individual and in what he tried to do or what he said. Okay, I could, I could have a connection to that and say, yes, that is a good person to, I was about to say follow, but even that I think is probably not a good thing to say now, but to learn from. That might be better. I think he was more of a teacher in a funny kind of way, even though he was like saying, yes, I'm teaching you what you should really already know, but you've lost it. You've been misguided. You went to the wrong school. So now, you have to relearn that type of thing. And that's true of all of us. We're all been at the wrong school and we have to relearn. And that's what I was guilty of all my life and still am, in the sense that there was probably many opportunities to wipe the slate clean and relearn, but instead found it too fearful, too hard or whatever, and didn't. But anyway, the trick of this world, in a way, is that essentially, even if I myself, like someone like me, would have said, oh yes, I will accept that a Jesus Christ individual is a good person to listen to, shall we say. But if you'd have said to me, yes, but there's going to be an opposing force against this learning from this individual or even being like this individual, and that is Satan. And I would have said, no, there is no such thing as Satan or the devil. I will accept that, yes, there could be good individuals that try to show us a better way to live. Literally, not only a better way to live, I would say just a way to live, because my view now, is that the opposing force, Satan or the devil or whatever you want to call him, even though I also would say that in the true history of things, this individual is not really like we would think of Satan or the devil or that entity to be. It is just a technological being from out there that has come here and taken dominion. Now, that becomes a god because they have taken dominion of the earth. But, they may or may not be any more powerful, shall we say, than any other of their kind or of the different types of entities that would be around us, even though we don't see them. In other words, out there, wherever you like. You have to use your imagination. But in the past, I operated under the belief that there was no devil, no Satan, no opposing force to good. Only man himself invents these things, and then when he behaves badly, he kind of uses that as an excuse or whatever, which is half true in a way too. But I do think that it is real. It is real in the sense that it's real in the sense that, one, if you have human beings on this earth that actually do acknowledge this and that do worship this and that do operate through the knowledge and the technology, the knowledge, and everything that you can possibly, and in other words, they know how the world, how we work, even the humans that worship directly or relatively directly. Oh, just they know that this world as we know it and as I knew it and still operate in it to be false in every single way, and that it is, and we do not understand how it actually works. It's a bit like I've said before, and I'm going to say this again while I can keep my thoughts here. Every single movie that you see, watch every single movie, particularly science fiction or fantastic ones. The more ridiculous, the more you think it is a fairy tale or not real or not possible. The magical, the science that you think doesn't exist, it's all there showing you. That is the real world. Every movie is showing you the truth. This is how the trick works, I think. This is what I believe now. They show you the truth, but it's shown in a way that you don't see it as truth. But it's all there. Watch every movie. I have not watched most of them because, as I said before, I thought that the science fiction and things, yes, the more fantastic ones, the supernatural ones, all fake, all wrong. No, all true. Everything you see on the, which is a contradiction in itself too, because this is why I say it's a mastermind mind game. And it's only hit me now. It's only when you start to see the cracks and wake up just a little bit, because I'm stuck in it, I can tell you. But then you realise that you are up against a mastermind, genius, devil, Satan type entity. These are the words that I use because it is anti-live. It is anti-life. Jesus, that's right, was saying, teaching everyone how to get back to just learning to live, I think. Evil, the word backwards, is live. Evil, Satan, Lucifer, that type of thing is anti-live for the human, unless you worship it directly. But even that is still, it's still a choice, and it's open to debate. I don't want to be here telling everyone what to do. And I'm putting out what I think I know about things, what I picked up from others, what I know from my own personal stuff. If I didn't have my own personal stuff, information, I wish I could put this more eloquently, I'm sorry if I'm not, because I think that's important. Presentation is important, unfortunately, because it's such a fake world. So everything is fake and everything is about how you get it across. But what I am trying to say, and I try to explain this because I've got the concept and I know how it works. I see it every day. It's happening, even making this video. I say honestly, I'm making it because I'm in the matrix. Everything is orchestrated. Everything is under the dominion of it and the God entity. Okay? Now, that means that even in doing this, you know, maybe I'm meant to be doing something else. No, I could be wasting my time. And I don't believe that I totally am, but at the same time, it may be that I am only speaking to people that are already a little awake, or already more awake than me even, maybe. In which case, I'm not, I'm serving the matrix, because that is not any benefit. The only benefit really is to make, or at least show, humans that can't see the matrix that it exists, that it's real, and that it is operating around them all the time in by a mastermind, Satan, Lucifer-like entity. But this entity is not a religious entity. It is a real entity, in that's as real as what we are anyway, as real as what our thinking, because we create the world with our thinking, but it's not under our control anymore, and has not been since intervention or the beginning of time or the Garden of Eden. You can use all these things if you want to, they all fit. It's just that they've got, it's just that, like even with myself, I can't go back in time right now and see exactly 100% how it really happened. But all these histories and descriptions are not invalid at all. Just as all the movies and all the stuff you see on the TV is telling you and showing you the real world. The world that you don't see but is real. It's just that we are not seeing it, and we can't see it, just as I can't, but I know it exists because I see glimpses of it. See, once you start to see the matrix for what it really is, how false it is and how set up it is, and of course I am allowed to see it, don't forget. I am not more brilliant than anyone else that isn't seeing it. I'm allowed to see it. I don't kid myself, because I respect, even though I might not agree with the mastermind, Satan, Lucifer, God entity, which would probably, I should be correct in giving him a different name. But that is the name that would be familiar to human beings, because we have been very conditioned with religion. And the religion is part of his I'm trying to, not part of his, it is the way that he works through humanity in this earth realm, because he does not work directly. He does not appear directly anymore, and therefore those that follow him, who are his disciples, you could say, a bit like Jesus had disciples, they would worship him through Satan, Lucifer, those images, and they have done, I believe, with the history now that I'm receiving, all through time. It's just that it's come under different names, different religions, different, and I'm not very good at the history, but once you start to see these things, you can piece them together very quickly. That's because humans are meant to be able to do this. This is what I now realise. We've been very, because, you know, I'm not one of your academics, as I've said before. So if I can do it, it really means that even the more intelligent ones are really being shut down at a mental level. Now, yeah, but the deception really is, yes, the denial of the existence of even the opposing force of, I suppose you would say, right, wrong, good, bad. And that, but that also is the game that the mastermind uses, as I've said before, the duality, the right, wrong. It is a total, I can't emphasize this enough, it really, it stops me from sleeping almost, because it is such a mastermind deception at every level of this world that it is almost unbelievable. And how it works is this, I think. And I hope I can explain it, but I can think it, but getting it across even in this evil English language, that's another thing I've learned, is that even our English language is a product of the God entity, because it is it is not a good medium for expressing the human being. But it's strange that there again, I would like to say this, and this just occurred to me this morning. Human beings are very, very, very remarkable, but they do not know it. And I did not know it either. I did not realize this. I valued animals more in a way, because they are more innocent and more natural. But the human being is now being reduced to the very least of what it is meant to be. It was and still has that potential to go back, but it is being driven by this mass deception, by this mastermind entity, God, who operates through humans too. And this is the problem, is that we are dealing here with human beings being hit at every single level to keep them at their lowest possible potential. I have not looked around much in this world, but now I see it at every level. Now, I mentioned the English language, right? And that these things just come to me, so I'm sorry if I ramble. Even the English language is such a bad medium for the human being to communicate their innermost feelings, thoughts, etc. And the English language itself, I believe, this is the information that I'm getting, and what I instinctively feel now, is a negative language created by Satan, Lucifer, so that humans, even in interacting with themselves, because all is frequency, vibration and energy, they are spewing out at one another, you could say, through a negative vibration. You could almost say the very words, because the language itself has got negative connotations in the actual words. They're spewing this negativity, literally, backwards and forwards at one another, not only when they are angry because they're saying bad things and the words are bad, but the actual language, even at a less aggressive, or like even if I'm not really angry with someone, the language itself is still not a very good language for putting out positive vibration, and everything is frequency, vibration, and that's what humans are. They don't know this. This is the mass deception too. That's why I always try to say at the beginning what we really are meant to be, because if you don't grasp that, as I realise most people aren't going to, because I wouldn't have either, and it still boggles me, I have to say that. That's a word, boggle. I don't know whether that's got good or bad. It just come to me. But you see, but humans, strangely enough, even with all these things against them, and even with the very English language, I know there are other languages too, but English has now become a lot more widespread, and that's an interesting point, because that's the thing. You know, as the God entity, if he feels that he's losing a little bit of dominion over his subject, shall we say, if you'd like to look at it that way, although I would not think we are really his subjects, and we're certainly not meant to be, but we are his subjects in that sense, and that's how he would look upon us at best. That's at the very best. That would be the best of us, the ones that serve directly the disciples. The further down you go down the line, shall we say, or whatever, you know, that would be another thing. But the very language and things like that, humans are quite remarkable, and they don't know it. because they don't know that even down through the centuries, and this is just what occurred to me, they have been defeated many times. And they are always defeated because they are always under this dominion, and they are always suppressed, not at their original capability or at their original awareness, and at their original, what they originally were. Like I said, the original living library type thing, where, like Adam and Eve, shall we say, okay? But they fight back unintentionally at a subconscious level, even low. They've got all this negative stuff coming at them all the time. They're totally they're totally immersed in this fake matrix and believe it to be true, as we all do, and they buy into every story, everything that is thrown at them. But even with the English language, it's interesting that I've noticed, and this is just me putting it here, like, just think about the world now, how, see, humans express themselves through language, which they shouldn't actually be doing, really. But at least this is what's come to me in recent times, because all humans are psychic, and so they should be able to just transfer thoughts and a direct thought to another human being. In other words, and that means that you get the message across exactly as it's intended too. Whereas, like with language, like myself now, I have to think and use the words to convey the idea, and I may or may not be getting it across clearly, and I suspect I'm probably not, but and that's because we have language. But even with that, the humans, even with the bad language and negative connotations and being kept at a low vibration to where we're not thinking positive anyway, the human beings will be very verbose and will at least say, well, I'm free to even be angry and spew out negative stuff. Now, even that can work in a human being's favour, but that is being suppressed now too, in the sense that, we suppress ourselves, because then if I say something that you don't like, then you might say, well, that's offended me, so I don't like that, so you better be quiet. And you see, so it's like that, whereas this is why I say it's a real mastermind game. This is how I see it now, because sometimes even humans, when they're at an angry, aggressive, hateful worst, they can still be at their best, because at least they might be still expressing themselves. There's only one thing worse than, I think now, I would say, because I think back into the past where people were probably more rude than what they are now at a verbal level, but they were happier, and they were actually causing less problems for themselves and the whole world than what we are now, in a strange way, because at least they got it off their chest, that old saying, and that is a good thing. I mean, like, I might not like it if someone says to me right now, you talk rubbish, you shouldn't even make a video because you're ridiculous. Now, I could get angry about that, and that's fair enough, but it's better for that person to be saying something really bad about me, and they are anyway, because the thing is that this matrix will work that way. So it's kind of like none of it's under our control. So the very most that we have is to at least just be able to exchange something. You see, what I'm trying to say is that this is a mastermind mind game. That's the title, by the God entity and his disciples, minions, or it is a master mind deception fantasy world game that is being played against us little humans and we're unaware of it, and even when we're aware of it, as I am, you are powerless to do anything about it. The very most that you have is just to be able to exchange a few ideas and try to make some sense at any little level that you can. If you start to wake up and start to see the cracks and start to see the falsities, you will be piecing it together, as I'm now doing, a bit more, to where you see the bigger cracks and you see the bigger deception, and you see that it is not just in one little thing, it is everything. 100%. There is almost no room now left for any where you are not part of the matrix. I would like to meet someone. The only people that are not part of it are those that have raised their vibration to such a height that although they are still in the matrix, it does not affect them. This is what, and that's what a figure like Jesus Christ was supposedly representing. He was not of the matrix. He was in the matrix for a while, but not of it. His mind had dismissed it. He knew it was false. He knew it was fake. He knew it was Satan's domain. He knew it was controlled, and he knew that he could not control the matrix itself. He knew that all he could do was to wake the humans up to the fact that they're in the matrix and that they need to separate themselves from the deception, from the fantasy, fake matrix world that they're in. To accept that everything that is around them, everything, and this, see, I'm exhausted thinking about it because it is such a mass deception that, you know how I just said to you, see, that everything will be a duality, a contradiction too. You'll have to really get our minds back because, like I said to you, everything on the TV or the movies, all true. Not all true in the full sense, but what they are showing you does happen, is real for now. All the weird stuff, all the supernatural, all the science fiction that appears unbelievable, all that already exists in the universe, you could say. They show it to you because they have to show it to us, because we are spiritual beings in a physical body. Our thought creates reality. We're all connected, and it is almost a universal law that the human spiritual being has to be shown the truth so they can make a choice. Because if their choice, their free choice, is violated, there can be intervention. There could be a shutdown of the matrix, shall we say. Even Satan himself could not prevent that, because human beings do have, they create in the matrix, they have immense abilities, immense potential in ways that I cannot even comprehend, but they are unaware of this. The mass deception by Satan is to deprive this from us and for us to believe only in the fake 3D material, fake reality that we think is real. That's the matrix. It's not real at all. It's not real also in the sense that, for one, nothing is really solid, and that's a scientific fact. But there again, that's hard for me to comprehend too, because I'm feeling the solid. But and for me to say my thought creates reality, my thought can create the solid, you know, I find that hard. But because we don't operate that way, not at a conscious level. We operate that way at an unconscious, subconscious level, you could say, but we don't have access to that anymore. We only operate in our limited conscious mind, and that is taken over totally by the matrix. But when I said, like, yeah, look at the TV, look at the movies, you will see much more, not so much more reality, you'll see the truth. You will see what this world is capable of, and what humans are capable of, and what the technology really is, and what humans can be capable of too, under what you think are fantasy in the movies. But as I've said before, if you're saying that human beings, their thought creates reality and they're all connected, what does that tell you? Can you relate to some movies that might be telling you that? I mean, I don't watch a lot of movies, but I see and hear about some, and this is why I'm saying, but once again, we come into the mastermind that puts us into confusion, in the sense that here I am telling you that yes, there is truth, that the real truth and reality is presented to you, even on your fake TV screen, which is not really fake because it's all fake. Everything is fake. We just think that's fake and we think we're real and we're actually controlling our earth when we're not. It's not ours. It's a computer-generated simulation where we are pawns in it, literally. And we play the game, but we're unaware we're playing the game. And the game is all set up so we pretty much follow directions, if you want to look at it that way. Unless you wake up to the game and realise at least that you're in the game, then at least you might say, well, now I'm still stuck in this realm, in this game, but now I might have a slightly bigger upper hand. But of course you won't, because the minute you start to wake up, the matrix will come down on you even harder. While you're playing the game and unaware of the matrix, you will be allowed a little bit more scope, because the matrix doesn't have to then come down on you. I mean, like the matrix, I mean, to be quite honest, the matrix is probably if you are seeing the matrix, then that means that the matrix is coming down on you more. So your life will be harder. You'll be aware, but it will be harder because the matrix only shows you that it's the matrix. Because I would actually go so far as to say that, I mean, there are some humans who will seek out the truth to such an extent that they might find the matrix themselves. But a lot of what is happening now, including myself, is not me being particularly searching for the truth or being particularly brilliant in any way, but merely that the matrix has seen that my vibration maybe was about to rise a bit for whatever reasons, even though I would have been unintentionally doing it. Or, well, I mean, you make a choice, but at the same time, how shall I explain it? This is my view, is that if your frequency and vibration is going to rise a little bit even at this present crucial time, when awareness has been much more allowed onto this earth. I don't understand why or who's doing that or what but the beings that control it do. Now, this was where we were all supposed to see the matrix, okay? And therefore have a legitimate choice for the first time to at least make our choice between the God of the matrix or something else, okay? I'm not going to go into all that now because also I want to get more information, but obviously if there's a Satan, unless Satan himself he is a duality God, so he is representing both. But, I mean, there are lots of ways you could look at it, I suppose, and it's just come to me. It could be a trick even of our own minds where we are deciding good and evil. We are putting that onto ourselves. But I am actually going with a sort of reality. I'm not going to go into the total high realm of where you're saying this is just all some sort of consciousness of my mind and that I am creating even all the difficulties, that even Satan is an invention of my mind. I'm not going to go there. It's a possibility, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to say that these are technical beings that do exist, that are infected with a duality mindset, just like a lot of the humans on this earth now are infected with the same thing. We are all infected with the mind parasites in the sense that any human being that lets their vibration get reasonably low, as we are all low, will allow the negative thoughts, the mind parasites, to come in. These are beings that have the ability to transfer thoughts because they are advanced beings, as we are, but we are limited because we have had our knowledge and the truth and the real reality of everything kept from us, because we are a valuable commodity to these beings. We are the prize of the universe to have trapped us here and keep the truth from us to where we look like fools. And they laugh almost because we are not meant to be fools, and we give them their reality. I'm trying to explain it in a way that I can't get it across, I don't think. But you see, they can't even operate without us in a funny kind of way. We're doing it all for them. We give them everything. Right this very minute, I am giving ideas, even though I think I'm giving it to fellow human beings. Of course I am, maybe, but so few that it doesn't matter. But I'm giving even more to the bigger matrix. And that information, that human information, will then be used to be put onto, yes, a computer or a TV show or something that will be shown to big amounts of people that will buy into the lie. Now, you see, I'm not explaining this well, but I'm saying that it is such a mass mind game control thing that in order to control and keep the matrix going with the average human being that is here, the few really human beings that are here, and don't forget that I am even talking about your psychopaths, because they are still human. It's just that they have been turned more, even though most of them are not even religious, so they're certainly not interested in Satan or whatever. But if they are working against me or you, that are the more, that are not as, if they are working against humans that are trying to help them, shall we say, or that at least don't have anything against them, if they are suppressing us, because humans are used against their own kind, just as now animals turn against one another. This is the matrix. This is the unreal, artificial, completely alien to the human spiritual being, really, but we've lost sight of that. This is the trick world. It is, I try to use examples. It's like this, right? I'll try to use an example of it, little examples. I see it every day. And you see it on the screen too. And you see it with people that we, like I see it in people that I would have liked, okay? By that I mean people that I might not really know, but I still think I like them. I still think that they are good. I still think they have some talent, and I buy into their illusion, okay? Movie stars would probably be a good example. I've always been big on that. Now, in order to get me to like a movie star, which I would already be attracted to, they have to know what I would like. And they have to know that because I'm human and because I'm not silly, as no human beings really are. We just get tricked and confused, but we're not silly. But we are at such a disadvantage, we are made to be silly. But that's only because we don't know this is happening. How am I to know if I'm attracted to a particular human, fake human? And I would say fake, because if it's all fake, For all you know, I could be fake. I mean, it's for you to discern and decide. This is what it really comes down to. And I have been tricked by the fakery all my life. I mean, I would probably have picked the fake people over the real people every time, because they know how to fake it good. They are actors. Yeah, like actors. They act. They can act better than the real people because they know how to get the emotions from the real humans. They know what the real human, they know that the real human is really human and that they are less human. They are fake people. They exploit. They're not genuine. They don't just sit here right now like I'm doing, making a fool of myself, saying all this. They don't do that. And if they did, that would be to trick you even more. This is the deception. In other words, if they went crazy and were doing the same as what I'm doing now, which no doubt tomorrow if I turn the TV on, one of them may well be doing it. Because they'll say, hey, if that hits a chord in any human being, us fake ones are going to use that. This is the scope, literally, of the mind game world we live in. Its scope is unbelievable. No human being is immune from it. We're not safe from it. We are unaware of it. It tricks us from the littlest level to the biggest level. You really now cannot be sure of anything. And that also will then throw most human beings like myself into even more chaos, because we almost need to have some stability and belief in this world to actually survive and keep going in it. So it is a very difficult situation. It is, but all I can really say is that, and this is what I do now, and what the humans will need to do, but they're not doing it because it's very hard. I know this myself, to actually have to say I have been fooled all my life. And not only that, and also the more ego of us will have great difficulty with this. And as I said before, we have now psychopathic, narcissistic people who make up a large amount of the population. Now, these people will defeat me and you because they are already at that level, even though they should be our greatest allies. They should be our greatest allies, shall we say, because they are human, but they have just been possessed in a way, but possessed by their own separation from their true self by the ego, because they have been traumatized so much. And this is by the matrix. So they are people that we should be helping, but if we try to help them, they will not be with us. So it's, once again, the matrix has us. These should be our greatest allies, because some of these people are your more intelligent people, more intelligent than me, no doubt. They have great potential. And the matrix knows this. This is why they come down on them, the same as they come down on others when they start to wake up. They will then show you the matrix, because they're like, hey, you're going to wake up, you're going to raise the vibration and create havoc with our matrix. So therefore we will come down on you, and if you've even got half a speck of any awareness or intelligence left, you will start to see it, because your world will be shocked when the matrix starts coming down on you, because you will say, why is this happening? You will say, oh, I'm not anyone important. So, and you know that, because you don't have to be, because as I've said before, you could be the most unimportant person on this earth. But if you raise your vibration, which actually it'd probably be harder to do the further down you are, but it is still possible because some people are able to be content with a very limited life. And any person that is not letting the world bring them down in some way, or not making them envious, or the need to compete and all this stuff which goes on, which keeps the vibration low and keeps humans from connecting to other humans, shall we say. If there's any individuals, even if this individual is sitting in the gutter and is homeless, if that individual has the power in themselves to be oblivious to the matrix and not be disturbed by their predicament, that person will raise the vibration. They will raise theirs, and accidentally they will raise everyone else's. They won't be aware of it, but they then become a great threat to the matrix, because that cannot happen, because once the vibration rises, the frequency rises, the humans interact with one another at that level, then it changes. Now, this has never happened. As far as I know, this has never happened in the history of humanity since intervention. Okay? But, you know, I could be, but if it has happened, it's been squashed. So, as you can see, because we are in the position we're in, and this is what is left now. So, yeah. But I would seriously doubt that it ever has got to that point, because just on our knowledge, and whether you take that to be the true history, I would, as I've said before, this is what I would suggest, or at least what I do anyway. This is what I do. Look at everything you see on the TV, movies, and assume it to be real as what you are told is real, say a news bulletin. They're all the same thing. They are all fake and they are all real. It's for you, and this is why they don't want, when I say they don't want, Satan or whatever does not really want the human to raise the vibration, because when you raise the vibration, I think what happens is you will automatically be able to discern the rubbish from the truth. In other words, you will see the movies, you will see the news, you will see the people you like, the people you don't like. You will see all this world that is presented to you, and you will instantly know what is the real truth amongst it. You will just be able to discern that. That's what the awareness and the awakening does. But at much higher levels, the sky would be the limit, because I'm saying that even when you raise the vibration, not even if you raise the vibration, because see, essentially if you raise the vibration, it will all come to you. That's what I am saying. There's no point in me even talking about it, because if it happens to people, they won't need me. They won't have to listen to me. There won't be any point. They will know much more than me, and they will just take it to the limit, and they will already just look around and be able to discern instantly what is the truth and what is the fake. Now, at this point with myself, I am still at the low vibration. So although I'm aware, I am only aware because I was ready to raise the vibration a little bit, and so the matrix comes down on you. The matrix comes to close that down. The matrix then exposes itself to you accidentally, or even deliberately if you like, because by this time the God is like saying, hey, I am here, I am the God, this is my matrix, you need to stay in the low vibration, worship me or go. That's about it. Worship me or go. Or more importantly, don't even worship me. Some of us, see, the more influential people are given the choice to worship or go. And if they do worship, they'll be rewarded at a matrix physical level, because even Jesus said, you know, or didn't say, but he acknowledged that Satan could give him anything in this world. I've said this before. He was presented as some humans are with I suppose you could say it's a temptation, but it's also a reality that Satan, if he wants something from you and he likes you, he doesn't really like you, but he likes what you can do for him, okay? Because he's not a human, so he doesn't, humans are not his kind. So he's not going to really, like humans as though they're like his children or or his relatives or that. No. But if you have something that can serve his matrix, he will be quite happy to, if you acknowledge and worship him and serve him, he will reward you very well, as he offered Jesus anything he wanted. Assuming, there again, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to say this is a possibility. And either way, it fits what is going on with things. So you don't have to believe, I've said before, the religions have got nothing to do with it. I'm talking about just one man that had a very good message for everyone. If you take only the words, and there again, you'll have to say what is really Jesus and what is the matrix. This is the deception too, so it is hard. But I do think personally that they do not like the Jesus character, because even though he is part of the religions, he is thrown up too as an example of, hey, this is what you were meant to be. But look what happens if you become what you're meant to be. You might not have a great time on this actual earth. If you look at it that way. And I could be wrong in saying that, but that's just something to think about. I don't like to go there, to be honest. I don't like to go into any of these things, but I'm feeling I have to. But I've lost my thought again. But yeah, he was offered everything because, if he had been happy to he had something that Satan wanted. He wanted Satan to serve him because he knew that him walking around enlightening people, shall we say, if you look at it that way, did not fit in with the matrix at the time, and nor has it ever, and nor will it ever, because the matrix does not operate or want enlightened, high vibrational human beings. And that's why I say, if you are even going to raise your vibration a little bit, the matrix will be aware of this. And unless you are able to raise it quickly and to a certain level, you will probably get trapped even more in the matrix, like myself. And the matrix will expose itself and it will become clear that you're in the matrix. And it will become clear that it is not your world, and it will become clear that it is dominated by an entity, a mastermind entity that uses human thought, human feelings, and everything that is human to work against the human from becoming whole as a human. And all the good things about humans will be used against humans to keep them in the matrix. I don't know whether that makes sense to you. That kind of means, like I've said before, all the things that I think that I've liked in my life, that I've admired, that I've looked up to, that I thought were real, that I thought were authentic, to now see that those things that I based my life on and that I liked and that made me feel that I had a sort of identity here, to realise that they're all a setup, all a fake, and that even the good qualities of the things that I liked have merely been things that they have taken from me and from other human beings to entice me and you to buy even more into the fake people, the fake reality, the fake world. I mean, that'd be a bit like, I'm going to use an example here, right? But I hope I'm not going to upset anyone. And I have nothing against even these people, right? The less human, I would say. And the only reason I say they're less human is because they have went for the money and the goodies of this world to serve the matrix rather than serving those that have put them in that position. In other words, if I like someone and I put that person into a position to where they are making money and I admire them, and I might even think they deserve that, but that person is really working for the matrix or for Satan or Lucifer, shall we say, as opposed to working for me, even though without me as a human being, they would not have their position, because as strong as the matrix is, as strong as Satan is, and as mastermind as he is, and the mind games and the whole false reality, he still needs me or you, the real humans, to give our thoughts and our feelings and our stuff to the matrix so that he can then exploit them to keep us in the matrix. It's like even the people I admire do not exist and will not exist and cannot, even Satan, there's no point in him paying someone a lot of money or giving them all the riches if I don't bow down to that person. This is the power of the human being, but we don't know it. In other words, my favourite actor will not exist if I don't place him on that pedestal. Satan will present him to me. He will say, here, lady, I know what you like. Here is an individual that you will like. Here is an individual that you will respect. Here is an individual you will think is genuine. Here is an individual you will admire. Here is an individual you will look up to. Here is an individual you will probably even emulate. But he is mine. She is mine. But I'm giving this to you. Now you choose. Do you want to look up to this person and put them on a pedestal? And I am like, yes, this entices me. Oh, I like this person. Oh, this tickles my fancy. It pushes all my buttons. It ticks all my boxes. And this person is presented to me for that very purpose. And this is what happens over my lifetime and no doubt many others. And if I decide, if I see something occasionally that I don't like about this person, I'll probably let it go because I have already been seduced. I was just thinking of, I don't like to use examples. I try not to be personal. I could use 1,000 examples. I could use real individuals, so-called real individuals that exist in the matrix. They are real people, I guess. Even of that, I could not be 100% sure, because we live in a technological world that can reproduce all sorts of things. We as humans are being led down a very technological, tricky path. I see it at every angle now, but most people are not quite seeing it as much. Some are seeing it even more than me, and I really feel sorry for them in a way. But at the same time, if they're big enough and if they can raise the vibration, they will be at a great advantage. But at any rate, what I am saying is that I don't like to use personal examples, but I will be personal about myself at times, only because it's the only way that I can get the idea across in a way. And I suppose, I hope it makes me seem a bit more legitimate, because like I say, it's impossible to tell the fake from the real in this world. I honestly look at you right now and say, you cannot be sure if I'm real. I could easily be a fake person. If you have raised your vibration a bit, or your awareness, or the matrix has come right down on you, you might be able to discern. But even if you decide that I'm a real human, that doesn't mean that you might not encounter other humans that are not, that you also think are human too, because they will emulate what is the best of the human, okay? It's like the people we admire. What I think is a good human quality will be presented to me in the people in my life, and as idols, shall we say, too. Because and if I have common taste, which I do, I would say that quite honestly. I've always said I have very common taste. I may not be a common person in the sense that I myself might be a bit odd or a bit individual, but I have common taste. And if I don't, it ends up becoming, and this is just a coincidence, I think, but at the same time, it could well be that because we are all connected, that, and we are all really human, we do have a common thread. So I think I've lost you there. I've almost lost myself. But you see what I'm trying to say is that what is your weaknesses, what is the very best human qualities will be presented to you in a way that confuses you and gets you to think a certain way in the people you admire. I don't know whether I put that across very well, but it's a bit like this. I have noticed myself, and I'm not going to use any exact examples because I don't wish to be personal. And also I want to say that the human beings that do get enticed, shall we say, just as we are enticed to worship certain other people in a way, or to look up to them, or to follow, like a fashion. You only have to look around at the world to realise that we're very fashion conscious. We follow the trends, we follow a lot of things. This is just the way that we are. It's not the way that we're meant to be, but it is the way that we have become, I think. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It wouldn't be a bad thing if it wasn't all a setup and a matrix, but it is. In other words, it would be okay. In fact, it would be normal for us to be connected and to relate and to be a lot, in some ways, alike, probably, I would imagine. But I'm going off track again, as I always do. I apologise for that. But yes, our very good points, the things that make us most human, will be a bit like when you're watching a movie, right? The actor will bring out his emotions that are acting. They're fake. He's an actor. Okay? You know that. But when you're watching it, you enter into it. And our real life on this planet, on this earth, shall I say, is exactly like that. Because we are really playing with actors. All around us we have phony people, actors, set up for us by the matrix to direct our lives, to keep us, usually to keep the matrix going and to keep it at a low vibration. This is the trick. And because we are at a low vibration and are not aware, because while you're at a low vibration, your awareness is low, and you're not aware of the matrix, and you're not aware of the systems operating around you, much less the people operating around you, not aware of the total mind control that is going on, and the mastermind mind control in every single area of your life and in this world. It is all false, all operating to get humans, like I said before, even the humans that we would think are negative, as I have encountered. These should be, even psychopaths should be, a great benefit to most humans. because they are human, but they have been turned. They haven't been, a lot of them have not been bought by the Matrix. You see, each person will be, some people will be bought, some people will be possessed, some people will be traumatized to where they are like possessed people. Every person will be, from birth, shall we say, traumatized, controlled and conditioned a certain way according to their kind of genetic makeup, you could almost say, according to their personality, to what makes them tick, to what is going to, what the Matrix knows what their weaknesses are, and the Matrix will set, it probably goes even deeper than what I'm actually saying. Even I find every day more and more, and it just, needless to say, that it is your whole world being literally blown up in your face, your whole life, your whole history, and you do actually doubt everything about yourself, even because you say, how much have I been manipulated, even at birth, before birth, this sort of stuff, because you know that the technology is beyond your imagination, because we are living in a limited technological world even, and Satan operates through technology. Human beings are spiritual beings. At their best, they don't need technology, and they just would laugh at the Matrix and laugh at the technology and laugh at the mind control and laugh at the fake staged scenarios that go around them on a daily basis. They would be like, I'm in a play, I know I'm in a play, it's poor acting even, I'm not going to buy it anymore. I see through the phony actors. I see through the phony people. I don't hold anything against them. And I realise that some of them do it for various means, because it is tempting when you're in this physical world to not buy into it and to not want to be comfortable in it. It is uncomfortable to be too awake in this world unless you are working for the Matrix. That is the truth. In fact, it's more than uncomfortable, it could be unbearable. And that is the idea too, because once the Matrix exposed, if you are one of those people that the Matrix is exposing itself to you without you really actually consciously seeking it out, as is my case. So I'm not one of your more intellectual types that seek out the truth and that have seeked out the history and all this. I now look into it because the Matrix has exposed itself to me. But I did not seek out the Matrix or try to expose it, or that's why I say some people just accidentally have stumbled into not so much exposing the Matrix, but seeing it. But they didn't even do that. It's just that I guess in my own case that I was inadvertently raising my vibration, and that at this time it is not wanted for even unimportant people, uninfluential people, people who are not working for the Matrix, shall we say, to even raise the vibration a little bit, because there must be potential for some of us to still change this scenario a little bit by that happening. This is what I just figured out, because I'm like, hey, it would not make any sense otherwise. There would be no reason that any people, and there are a lot of people who are in this position, from what I can see, where they are not prominent people. They may even be a loner, as I would have chose to be, living in a shack right out in the middle of nowhere, not making any contact with any human being, just in contact with the environment, and not even using any technology. That's not possible now to get away from technology, I have to say that. But if that was even the case like a few years ago, but I'm saying that it's happening mainly now. Even the technology coming in is part of the Matrix system, and it is much more operating at this time, because in the past we didn't have it. Now I'm saying that if that person was out there and had no contact, why would the Matrix be exposed to that person? They could just leave that person there and let them live and die out in that shack and say, because that person cannot affect anyone. So they're not a threat to the Matrix. But if the matrix comes down on someone like that, and it has been happening, I believe, that means that that person doesn't have anything that the matrix or anything special. But that person, just because they may be living in the shack and in contact with nature out there in the thing, their vibration and frequency might just be rising a bit. And at this time, that could be enough to raise many, many more vibrations, and therefore the matrix will expose itself even to that person who normally would have just been left alone and just said, that person's nothing and nobody, not of any relevance. We have the matrix under control. We have our disciples. We have our stage plays all in place in this fake reality. We have the people that the humans will look up to. We have the people that the humans buy into all their phony acting and everything they do. And even when like the phony people, the actors of the Matrix, and some of them are literally actors too. Some of them are real actors, and some of them are literally your actors. But and I have admired these people, and I still do. Okay, I still do. I'll say that honestly. I still do not dislike the very people that I have put up on a pedestal, even though I know they are phony. I don't dislike them. I can't, because they're too much part of my fake reality. And I know why they've done it. And in their position, I might well have went for it too. You know, it's hard to resist being given more knowledge, being given more technology, being given more access to the real world. It's hard to resist the money, the luxury, all the things that the Matrix can offer you, so much more. They can even show you beyond this reality for some of them even. So that is going to be like, oh, why would a scientist not want to know the real science? Why would, it's like that. So they will be presented with much more. But they will be serving the Matrix, and it will be, I suppose, it's interesting. I don't know, I don't know what will really happen to them, as I don't know what will happen to me. But at the same time, I wonder whether they have a good life while they're here, and they might even be offered more after. And in comparison to myself and others, it would be, I can't blame them for buying into that and for accepting that. And also, if you have any abilities and you've already bought into, as I've said before, the need to compete and the need to prove you're something in someone and to get the adulation, that type of thing, because that's very much put into us. You know, that's why we have our idols, because we secretly want that ourselves, because that has been put into us. We feel inferior, and therefore we want to compete and want to prove that we, you know what I'm saying? And it's tricky. It's tricky. It's a minefield of mind games. This is what I now realise. And like I say, I still do not dislike my idols that I've had. I recognise them to be totally false now, that's all. And it's exposed my weaknesses to me too, because it's like saying, look, this idol was put for you because you have weaknesses. You know, if you just even like the look of someone, that is your weakness. That is what is given to you. This matrix is so advanced and so tricky. The human is creating it. The human gives itself to the matrix, and then the matrix uses what it gives to throw back at the human to subdue them, to keep them down at a limited level. So they have all the goodies that are good about a human being, and they use it to keep the human being at a lesser level while they have the whole matrix, the whole earth, should we say. This is the kind of trickery of it, or it's a joke, but it's not a funny joke. It's a mastermind thing, because we give to the matrix. The matrix cannot exist without us in a way, but we're not creating this matrix for ourselves. It is not working for us. We do not have dominion over it. But it's like if someone knows your every thinking, your every weakness, that will be used to control you and keep you in the matrix, is what I'm saying. So everything that has been presented in my life has been a mass deception to keep me focused on the matrix, to make me like what the matrix wants me to like, knowing what I subconsciously would half like anyway, using my own feelings, my own thoughts about things to seduce me, to keep me in the matrix. So I could use examples of that. I was going to, but I don't want to be personal. I did want to say that I still now see this, but I'm not going to be angry at those that have tricked me in the matrix, because they are only part of it. They are working for the matrix. They are weak as I am weak, and they are no better or worse than me in that respect. So I'm not going to turn against them by even saying some of the people that I might have thought were idols and that I might have admired, and I'm certainly not going to nitpick how false they are. I am shocked maybe and disappointed, but also I would have to say, well, this was because I also had not been able to raise my vibration or get to a level to where I could be aware of it. So I defeated myself as much as what they defeated me. They tricked me, but I also let them trick me because I had kept myself at that low physical, low vibrational, low frequency level my entire life, okay? And this is kind of how it works, but I don't know if I'm explaining it very well. I could use an example like this, right? I'll try to use what because I only saw it the other day. It's a bit like, okay, okay, so I like people who wear a lot of makeup, right? Okay. You know, like in other words, I'm saying if I like people who wear a lot of makeup, or even if I buy into the illusion that the makeup creates, which it does, it makes people look a lot more seductive and emphasizes things. You know what I'm saying? Now, I may not wear any myself, and I know I should, but I now would say that might come down to, see, this is the trick of it too, is that no matter what I say, it will still not make sense because the matrix has it covered, okay? So I could say 1,000 things about that particular issue, right? About makeup, just about makeup, right? Wearing makeup or even wearing particular clothes or whatever, fashion, all that. But I'm going to go on to makeup because that could have been a weakness of mine in the past. Not for me personally, but for what I like to look at visually, enticing me visually, okay? Okay. Now, if I now say, well, because I didn't see it as a seduction. I mean, I knew it was a seduction, but I didn't say to myself, because someone wears a lot of makeup, that that person underneath the makeup is phony too. I didn't do that. I said, hey, that person is merely making themselves attractive with makeup, and it appeals to my eyes and my senses. But underneath it, that person is just as good and just as human as me, maybe more so, maybe much better. And this is, and sometimes that can even be a possibility, okay? But it was certainly what I thought anyway, okay? So I thought there's no problem with that. I'm not going to assume because someone wears a lot of makeup, as most of the people that we see, particularly not so much even on the street, but around. But, you know, but then supposing I change my mind and wake up to that and say, hey, phony makeup, phony hair, phony person, phony underneath as well. All doesn't matter if they're human, because they are human and I like them, but they are phony. They're presenting what I want to see, what will seduce me and what will make me like them and go along with buying their stuff, say, or interacting with them in some way. Okay, I'm trying to put it across here. But what if I, like now, say, oh, wake up to that. Phony makeup, phony people, phony clothes, phony this. And the next day that person will then say, okay, we like her liking us. We'll change our look the next day. We'll become more real for her because now she doesn't like that. You see what I'm saying here? Are you kind of getting what I'm trying to say? So then I might then say, oh, right, that person is real after all. Look, they're not wearing so much makeup today. They're, I've caught them unawares. No, they're real. I was wrong. You see what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter what you think or what you do, it will all be fake. Even if it appears to be not fake, it will be fake. Even if I always promote everything being natural. Even natural will be faked in this fake world. Everything will be used. The sole purpose of the matrix is to control the authentic human being. That's what I've now come to that conclusion. There is no other purpose for it. It is a false reality created around me and you to, one way or another, keep us into this fake reality, keep us buying into it one way or another. And if you cease to buy into it, then goodbye, bye-bye. That could, but even that will only be a few, because without the human being, this reality cannot exist. Even Satan himself has no need of it, doesn't want it, but he does like it, and also we're his playthings, we're his toys. That's what it comes down to. We are his playthings, his toys. We play with it, he play with us while it suits him. If he finds a new toy, we might be less important. Various ones will be more important, special toys, okay? A bit like when I was a kid, I liked some toys, some dolls, some teddies more than others. That's how Satan, Lucifer, the technological God entity that controls this domain. I use all the religious terms and things because they all represent the same thing, because we have our limited knowledge. We see God and entities a certain way, and even I would have, like I say. And as I said before at the beginning of the thing, it comes from a movie. It's presented to you. Even the movies will tell you. The greatest trick, I think should have got the exact quote, but essentially, one of the main reasons that the God entity tricks humans is because they do not acknowledge his existence. Only a very few, by comparison with the vast majority of the population, actually consciously acknowledge his existence, even if it is in a kind of different form, shall we say. In other words, even the people who worship Satan on this very earth, that actual image may or may not represent the real exact image of the technological God entity that rules it. But then again, because we are dealing with a technologically advanced being, and we as humans do not realize that we manipulate reality. In other words, it's a holographic world in a funny kind of way that we live in. We are meant to manipulate that, and we do, but we are unaware of it. But the God entity technologically can holographically present whatever he wants of himself, in other words, he's like, I suppose he's a bit like a human. Like I say, one day a lot of makeup, the next day none, one day a particular outfit, next day a different outfit, that type of thing. He can present whatever he wants. Am I explaining that well? I don't think I am, but it is beyond us, because you're talking about presenting images that are not real, or any image that the technological God chooses to present. The only reason he doesn't do a lot of this in our real reality is because, one, humans are, even at this subdued level, I think we still have still have the potential to have the knocker on the matrix. This is the joke of it, even though we don't know anything, because we keep coming back. But I am trying to emphasize in this video, and that's why the awakening and this awakening awareness that they talk about is so important, because it is at a crucial time, in the sense that humans are closing their mind down even more and letting the technology decide for them. And this is the worst thing that can happen to a spiritual human being, because that little bit of potential that we had there that was left, that was saving us in the past, because even at our lowest level, we were still fighting back against the matrix in a funny kind of way. I've looked at the history and it's happened. But if you close down your mind completely via technology, and I personally think that is Satan's greatest weapon and our greatest enemy of the human being. I would say that it's the enemy of the human being, even if Satan didn't exist. Even if there was no entity controlling this world, I would say it is the enemy of this natural earth anyway, because the nature and this earth is our connection, and it is our only gateway to be functioning at the highest level that we're meant to be functioning at. And personally, and from the information I've got, the human being at their highest level, as I've said before, technology is no match for the human being at their highest potential level. No match at all. No matter how advanced that technology gets, it is no match for the human being. This is a big rap that I give to human beings who I'm saying, like myself, are now down to rubbish. And it is an absolute tragedy that this is the situation, that we should be up here and we are down here. This is, it is everything that the Bible says, even though the Bible is a control mechanism of Satan. This is more of the trickery of this world. It is unbelievable, the situation that the human being has got themselves into. It is just beyond any comprehension. But if you start to see it, you see it, and then, yes, it is a bit upsetting. And this upsetting stuff that I'm doing now will be used by some other entity tomorrow to exploit and control the human being. Some prominent person, no doubt, will carry on the same way to manipulate and direct the matrix. This is the tragedy of it. Every time you even give yourself at a genuine level, you will not be giving to the people that you're meant to be giving to. Because if what I'm saying now only goes to a small number of people who no doubt are probably already a little bit awake anyway, probably. I'm assuming that. I'm hoping that there would be people who are listening who, well, see, the problem is, and I encounter this every day, is that we're now splitting into two different groups of people. We've got your technological total people that believe everything that exists in the matrix. They believe the matrix is there to protect them and keep them safe, and they need that security. And rightfully so too, because they are in a dangerous world. But the only trouble is that they think the danger is other human beings, whereas in reality the danger is their own thinking and the entities that worship Satan and that work for the God entity that some of them may or may not be aware of. But either way, this is how the setup kind of works. And even I don't fully understand it. Of course I'm missing, but essentially at a basic level, that is kind of how it works. But I'm not sure, some people probably know this completely, and the rest do not believe in the matrix or any of this, and this is the problem. So you've got the human beings that are totally ruled by technology, And it's impossible not to be in this world anyway. And they do not believe anything that is remotely supernatural in any way. The funny thing is, the God entity himself that controls this world is a totally technological being. But he believes in the supernatural. Yes, because he knows that human beings are that. And he has to manipulate the human being's thinking into thinking that this does not exist, just as he plays on the fact, as I've said before at the beginning of the video, the greatest trick the devil ever did was convincing the world that he doesn't exist. I think that's the saying. And that's essentially, in other words, we are operating in a world that is controlled by beings that we do not believe exist. Most people do not believe the devil actually exists. And even if they do, they think it is not there operating, putting thoughts into their very head and actually manipulating their reality at the vast level that it really is. I hope I've put some of it across. I should use more details in a way, but also I don't want to use personal examples, and I never intended to make these videos to even talk about technological gods or devils or demons or Satan or any of this stuff, or even be personal about human beings that may be at the top of this world that also control and operate this world, or about people who have money and this sort of stuff. But this is how this world really operates. And at a funny kind of way, I just wanted to talk at a personal level and say to humans, be yourself. Don't believe everything that everyone tells you. Just be in your own personal mind. Be an individual that does not listen even to gossip, does not listen to information. Now, this is going to say, I'm saying be ignorant. I am saying, yes, be ignorant. Wipe the slate clean. You won't be ignorant. You will be the opposite. You will be headed towards enlightenment, because if you're living in a fake world, you have to, yes, be like the Jesus man, if you want to look at it that. Be in this world, but not of this world, because this world is all lies, deception, and fakery. Everything in it, everything you believe in, everything you like, everything you think you like, everything you think you dislike, all fake, not real, only there to keep you down here so that you do not see the real world and the truth. And I can't see it either. I know it's there. I see glimpses of it. And also I say we wouldn't be kept down if we didn't have the potential to rise. You see, keep everyone limited, keep them in this fake reality world, worried about the fake reality world, which is almost impossible not to. Keep everyone at a very low survival level in fear, because we fear dying. We fear the physical body, which is also being attacked at a malicious level on this planet, because the human body, if it's fit and if it's at a high level, does make us feel a bit better. That is also, or every single thing on this world at the present time is under attack. Everything. It is because it was meant to be the opposite, a time of awakening. So therefore, the matrix comes down to keep the matrix going. Now, I have spoken to people, right? Not a lot. But just sometimes I get curious and I'm like, what does the average person, just randomly, what do they really think? And from where I am here, I hope this is not the case everywhere, but I don't know. People are so they really believe, from what I gather, that their world is not only real, but that it is that it is designed, that every rule, every regulation, every law is for their benefit, to keep them safe from harm of what, I don't know, when they don't know that they are already controlled and already under the dominion of individuals, humans, and even less humans, and a totally less human entity that controls it, but you can keep it at the lower level if you want to. If you don't want to buy into what I would consider now to be the reality that we live in a totally alien world, literally. Even, I mean, some people might agree with me and say, hey, yeah, even the humans, they're not acting human and we aren't. And that is a fact. And that is the truth of our whole history. But I'm saying that we are kept in the dark because we are at low frequency and low, that means we're also at low intellectual and every possibility level. So we are unaware of beings around us. We are unaware that this universe could be teeming and probably is. And I'm not going to say anything to be a fact because it's for you to open up these doors and your mind for yourself. And I can't prove it, so there's no point in me saying this universe. I can only say what I think. I can say I think the universe is teeming with so many life forms that we're unaware of, that are around us right this very second, and that are aware of us, but we are not aware of them because we are kept at the limited level. We were put here originally in the living library as human beings. We have this is the information I've got. We have the genetics of the best of the universe, okay? Or the best of maybe much more than that. I'm saying the universe because that's the limit of what we think. But, science even says there are universes and universes, whatever. I'm saying that we were put here as very special beings, almost like where we were given. I mean, I don't like to be technical, but it is kind of technical and I don't understand it. But it'd be a bit like saying we're giving you the best genes of everything there is. And we're going to put you here in this living library with all the best living organic genes of all. And you're supposed to just keep that living library going and develop it. And it will be closed off because it is so special. It is like the most precious of all put into one little place. And instead, that paradise, yes, the Garden of Eden, if you like, that paradise world has now turned into the satanic hell world that we now have because we allowed intervention, because we were given free will, because we were supposed to actually realise and know what to do. But we were so young, and because we basically, human beings basically have a trusting nature. This is our downfall in a way. That's our only fault, I would say, even at a high, in the sense that we should be aware of things, and even when we are, we still trust sometimes the wrong things because we can't believe that we are in a totally alien. And when I say alien, not all aliens are against us. We are aliens. Everything is alien. But in this particular domain that we are in, it has been taken over by alien technological beings, if you like, that are not in sync with us and never have been. They like us only because some of us are their prize playthings, but we're still just toys to them because they think they are superior to us, even though they know that everything that is good about them or about this world is what they take from us. They use our abilities to what we should have been creating and keeping the living library and creating it really good. I'm getting lost here. They have taken and used against us to create a living hell library that is not remotely reminiscent of the original thing. And they have turned human beings' abilities and their very psyche into something completely the reverse of what was originally. We live in a reverse duality world. Satan and even the followers that worship that particular religion, shall we say, on this actual planet, believe that. They have been seduced into that thinking. I say they have been seduced too. They don't think that. They think they are superior and they think that I'm stupid, and that other humans like me are really silly. and that they know more. They do know more. They know all this stuff that I'm talking about and much, much more. But they also, I believe, are seduced, but they don't know it. A bit like if someone offers you $1 million to do what you want to do anyway and they give you the world, you don't think you've been seduced. You think you're the luckiest, smartest person and the most brilliant person on the planet. And this is how it works. And they are doing well while they're here, and maybe even in another lifetime. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but they will be stuck here, though. They will always be stuck here if they play that game. Whereas humans are not really meant to just be stuck here. This is just a small section that is our enclosed insane asylum that is run by these beings. That's really it if you look at it that way, but that's the truth. Most people do start to say, a lot of people will acknowledge, even if I asked them, that the world is crazy. They will, if they look at it rationally and look at the whole world as a whole. Some people will even, but the sensible person, I would say, should look at it locally and say it's insane. And they should look at themselves and say, yes, I am insane and I'm doing insane things. I'm believing gossip. I'm buying into the physicality of this world. I believe everything that is told to me. This is because humans are trusting. That is a fine quality. But unfortunately, it is used against humans to then work against their fellow humans. Like I say, I mentioned particular personality types. The more abilities you have on this earth, even at the limited level we're at, the more you will be traumatized and hit to keep you down at a low level, I believe. In other words, some of the people that I criticize, right, the narcissistic types of people, the psychopathic types of people, they have been hit harder than me at an earlier time. I'm hit now hard because the matrix is exposing itself to me because I was about to see things at a later age and feel and finally realize that I could make this world a little bit better, just my own space. Not much better because I was limited, but even that was enough for the matrix to expose itself to me, as I've said before, which shows you how little humans really need. That's what it tells me, because I was never going to be up here. I was never going to be an enlightened one. Maybe it could have happened. I don't know. Maybe it said start small. Who knows? But they know these things. The beings that control this world know this. They understand all these things. They know everything about human beings. They've studied them and watched them and controlled them and used them for their own purpose. Whereas they are a covert God. Satan, even himself, is largely a covert God. The technological being that operates through Satan and his followers, disciples on this planet, is a covert God. And like I said at the beginning of the video, one of the greatest tricks that Satan plays on humanity is just the denial of his very existence. You can't fight a foe or an enemy. That's if you assume it is an enemy. Okay, there again, it's a choice. You know, if you want to serve and stay here and that is your choice, you know, but you cannot, if you do decide that you think this world is not good and you don't like the negative things that you will have to do or go along with to serve the negative God, to keep it at low frequency, because anything positive is high frequency, raises the vibration. That does not keep this reality going. It demolishes it. The human beings could demolish with their very thinking, just in the blink of an eye, this whole matrix. Satan knows this. The God entity, the technological advanced being that knows all about us and that has been around long before us, even before we were plonked here, shall we say. I shouldn't use that word, it makes it sound so very trite, and none of this is trite at all. But like I say, the English language, you know, and I do think a little bit of lightness, if you can just laugh at, I think if you could just laugh even at this fake reality, you would probably defeat it too. But how do you laugh at it when you're in a war zone? This is the contradiction. That's why I say he's got it covered. And I say he, as I've said before, because this is a male-dominated thing. Now, you might say, well, it's a male-dominated world, but women are coming up in it, and they are, yes, women are becoming male thinking. Make of that what you will, but what I'm saying is that, it's a, all of this and even those sorts of things, they are all confusion. Even the very essence of man and woman is now put into a state of confusion. And we're always confused anyway, to some extent, but never more so than what we are at the present time. We think we're on top of it. We think, human beings think that they're free, that they've got choices. Yes, that they have more, the people that we look up to, it's okay to be and do whatever you want. And so that seems like freedom. This is the trick again. This is what I figured out. This is what I thought. I thought, hey, I'm unique. I can be whatever I want. What a load of deception that is. You cannot be or do whatever you want. You will only be and do whatever the God entity and the matrix wants you to do. This is the reality. Once you accept the reality that you are not free and that you are not an individual who can just decide your own destiny, and that you are bombarded with, let's just say propaganda, that's the word, but it is not propaganda in the sense that you think, yeah, sure, it's on around you all the time, mass propaganda, but it is much, much more than just propaganda by an advertisement, or much, much more. It is infinitely more vast than that. It is literally putting thoughts into your head that you think are your thoughts, that you think are your authentic being. In other words, if I'm sitting here now and I say, I'm a lady, but I think I would have preferred to be a male, right? Where did that come from? Was that just me? Was I born that way? Was it my upbringing? Was it trauma? Was it this? Is it manipulation by various external forces? In other words, is it influence? Is it, like, because I now realise that what I liked most of my life, right, the people that I liked and admired and still do, a mass deception. And that also then makes me think, hey, what am I? If I like this particular illusion, shall we say. When I say illusion, say it's a human being. It comes in a particular physical package, right? And I like that physical package. But what if that physical package is not, I don't want to be blunt here. I'm always airy-fairy, I know. But I could be blunt, but I don't want to be, because these are almost like controversial type things these days, even though everyone accepts it and talks about it. So I'm also being mind stuffed by not being able to just lay it on the line, shall we say. And I don't really feel like it. It's personal and it's embarrassing in a funny kind of way, because I'm old-fashioned, or even though I have been broad-minded in myself, I still thought society, a construct as well, is also more normal. These days, I now look around and say, what happened to the normal world that I saw? I've been playing the game of trying to pretend to fit in with the normal for most of my life. And now these days, just in the last, say, 10 years or something, normal seems to have flew right out the window. In other words, how we had a traditional male-woman relationship and family and all this, all that's out the window now. So it is kind of a joke, and this is strange to me. But at the same time, like I'm trying to say, I'm trying to make a point here, but I'm not doing it very well as usual, and I'm sorry. if someone presents a certain package to me in a physical form, by this I mean a human being, but I'm just putting it, I don't want to use specific examples, I don't want to be personal, but I'm going to make the personal point. It is about me, but it would apply to other people too. This is what I'm trying to get at. This is the only reason I say stuff. I'm saying, if it applies to me, it could apply to you. If it doesn't, throw it away. Okay, I'm not saying that. But it could apply to you. But you might not just take the exact examples that I'm using, because you might like something different. So I'm just using as an example, but I'm saying think about yourself and say what, and particularly if you oh dear. See, this is the thing, is that it's hard to even get this across. I've got massive amounts of distraction, as you can hear, going on around me. Now, the problem with everything is that whatever world you're born into, I'm going to say this. See, I was born into a different world, many, many years ago. By that I mean that times have changed, as they do, but they've changed very quickly in recent times. I would say things have changed very quickly in many ways in the last 10, 15 years. Very quickly. In comparison with the years before, where things moved much slower. Okay? The Matrix has really speeded things up in recent times. Now, if I have been presented through most of my life with physical packages, Shay, human beings that come in a certain physical package that will appeal to me. I've said that before, okay? For me to worship, for me to idolise, for me to think that is lovely, that is nice, that is good, that is pure, that is this. All sorts of things. But if that physical package comes into something that contradicts the society reality at the time, in other words, like if that package comes in a human being form of a particular denomination, sex or something, shall we say, okay? That may or may not fit in with the reality of the time. So then I get the mind confusion going. And then I have to start thinking about what I am. Then we've got that mind game thing going. The Matrix is at full potential. The Matrix is controlling me. The Matrix is directing my thoughts, saying, who are you? Are you in sync with your mind body? Are you right? Instead of saying, I'm a spiritual being, it doesn't matter what my body is like necessarily. It's not that relevant. It's just something, it is something that I chose to come here into, evidently. But I've lost sight of that too. So I think, it could be an alien body. I may not belong in it. You know what I'm saying? So this is just another aspect of this reality that in recent times we see so much diversion that way. Now, people think that is a freedom, but there is no freedom in the Matrix, you see. That's something that you must accept if you are going to face the reality of this world you're living in. There is no freedom. If you think you're free, and if you think you've got a choice and you're making a choice on your own, particularly if it's something a little bit unusual or away from what you should or would normally have done, my view is you are not free. You are falling for the mind parasites, falling for the fake world around you, falling for the conditioning, falling for because look at the world, how it's changing. This just shows me, I don't know about you, that this world can just be tweaked and manipulated, and our minds can be tweaked and manipulated at will by the Matrix. Because if you look at 40, 50 years ago where we lived totally different. Now, I don't care if you want to say this is progress or not. That's not relevant. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? That's another trick of the matrix to make you think that you're advancing, that you're making progress, that you're becoming more broad-minded, you're becoming more free. You're not. There is no freedom in the matrix. There is no broad-minded. There is no individuality. There is none of these things. They're all a delusion of the matrix. In saying this, I look stupid, but it is the reality of it. I don't know how to express it or to get it across fully because it is such a mind game world that it is almost impossible to, you have to really sit here like myself and say, I've been completely bamboozled, I've been completely tricked, I've been completely fooled, I've been completely brainwashed, I've been completely manipulated and controlled my entire life. This is what I've had to say. And then most people cannot accept this. If I wasn't forced to, I wouldn't either. I would want to just go and bury my head in the sand. But if everyone realised this, it would be the opposite. It would be a revelation, and it actually would be like the whole veil and a whole new world, a true world being presented to humans. Not this fake world that is now being presented as the future world. Not this brave new world that is a fake technologically controlled minefield that is waiting for humans and that we are in now because we can't be in contact with nature much now, as I've said before, without all these things, without us being authentic and going back to nature and going back to ourselves without intervention, without technology. We are not going to be able to access our higher levels and to know what we truly are and to be able to discern and distinguish the fake from the real. Or, should I say, the fake from the, essentially just the fake from what is good for us. I'm talking here about health, about the real things that could benefit us. There's no point in living in this fake technological world where everything is fake if it is not good for your mind and body and spirit. And even if you don't believe in the spirit, just the mind and the body. This is being taken over, even the mind and the body in particular. See, I could sit here now and say, look, my spirit is not being taken over as much by the matrix as some people. But my mind and my body is definitely being taken over by the matrix and has been for a lifetime. By that I mean it is being attacked. It is being controlled, manipulated, brainwashed, kept at a low frequency in the body and at a physical health-like level. This is, I'm talking about mind and physical health really here, if you want to look at that. I'm trying to find the words. But if your body is being bombarded with everything that is alien and bad and technical, which is the opposite to what a human being should be, it is going to be at its lowest potential and it is going to be sick, okay? The same with your mind. If you fill it with technology garbage, all technology is garbage. Utter trash, garbage. And see, I'm getting angry. And this will no doubt be used, as I've said before, by the matrix in some way. You might even get, I might even get someone coming, turn the TV on tomorrow and saying something to this effect and using my stuff to manipulate other human beings to keep playing in this fake matrix. It is such a mind game thing that it is almost impossible to comprehend and it is impossible to get on top of. The only thing you have going is to realise it somehow, and particularly to not believe everything that you are told and everything that is around you, and certainly to very much discern what you receive via technology. Technology is the master tool of the matrix at the present time. In fact, it is one of the final tools, I believe, because even at a limited human level, we are sometimes able to keep things a little bit in balance and keep ourselves still here with the potential, always with that potential that we might see the matrix and wake up. And at this time, we were all meant to be. This is why everything is coming down on everyone so much harder, because I personally have no doubt that the humans that are here were all meant to be seeing not just what I'm talking about, not just what I'm talking about, in other words, waking up a little, because even I do not see the whole picture. I don't, and I do not have my full capacities. But I actually believe that at this time, particularly the more advanced humans, by that I mean a little bit more aware and actually at a slightly higher vibration to where they can access things more. And see, once this happens, it will be passed round. This is what the human being is, but they're denied this. They pass everything around now by technology, whereas this was meant to be like a, almost, you know how they talk about inspiration, getting inspiration from other. Well, it's kind of like that, except that it is more real than that, because even that implies airy-fairy stuff, just like no doubt you think I'm talking, but the beings that control this thing, and even the humans that are, you know, in a more privileged position, shall we say, they are aware of this too. But I'm not 100% sure how aware of everything they are, because that, you know, I don't know, you know, these people, you know, and that of course would be by design too, because I mean, they're, you know, see, we're very much in this world. It is very much like we're, because we don't operate knowing that we are connected. And I'm going to say this too, in another video I'm going to look into, but I don't want to create any separation. This is the problem. See, even I have to be very careful what I say, because I don't want to create separation between any beings in a way, because this can also then defeat the human beings too. Because whoever is here on this planet right now, or on this earth right now, they must be, you almost have to look at even those that you see as totally, as working against you, and you know they're working against you. You can't afford to see anyone as a foe, shall we say, or something to be got rid of, or something that you should be working against, because that is part of the game too. The master controller entity knows how to play completely 100% one human being and groups against one another, and beings against one another, different types of humans against one another. It's a massive mind manipulation on a huge scale, that once you start to see it, because you see it in your personal life and then you start to see it on a bigger scale. This is part of waking up a little bit, and this is it. And so then you have to step back and say, well, this person is really trying to kill me, but I cannot fight back at a physical level, because that is playing the matrix. So it is a tough thing. It's a tough thing. It's very, and the solution really is not easy at that personal level, or even if like I said before, if this goes on and the true awakening doesn't happen, in other words, to where a certain amount of people do wake up, then it will be hard. But if a certain amount of people do wake up, a large amount, then it will be very much the opposite, because then, you know, then there won't be then that conflict between groups and people so much. It's possible that even then the ones who are working for the Matrix, whether they're doing it consciously or not consciously, because I would be of the thinking that some would do it consciously, but probably quite a lot are doing things unconsciously. Their motives, because as I say, the being manipulates the human's weaknesses and strengths. If I have a soft spot for a particular cause, say, that cause will be used to turn me against other human beings. You see what I'm trying to say? This is how it works. Even though the cause itself is all a setup, okay? Because it's a matrix. Everything is a setup. Everything is false. But us human beings, our good points will even be used against us. This should not be, but this is because we've got ourselves and let the matrix take so much over. This has happened over such long periods of time, and whatever world you're born into, you believe that reality, you see. That's the trouble, as I believe my reality. And still find it hard not to believe it, to be honest, even though I know it's not real. And still like certain aspects of the people that I would have admired that I now say were fake, but, you know, being a sentimental human, you still even have a soft spot for what you once liked. If you're really human, that is, that's right. You know, whereas others, the more you can dismiss things, the more you've swayed away from that. But that's also because of the manipulation of the matrix. It's not a conscious decision by any human being. None of us do anything consciously because we can't, because we're in this mind control matrix. What we think are our conscious thinking and our actions are not ours at all. Most of the time, there might be some odd moments and there might be some aspects where we're still authentic, but to be quite frank, you know, until you accept that, once you accept that, then you do have a chance to really become authentic and break free, I would think. But while you are under the delusion that you are free and that you are in a real world and that you are an individual even, this will be used against you. It will be where you're operating thinking that you're okay and that you're somehow special, which you are anyway, but you will think you're special in your fake world. You will think you're special by the clothes you wear, or by the people you know, or by the money you've got, or by the car you drive, or by you know, I could be seriously sitting here now thinking I'm special because I'm saying all this stuff and I'm not special, and I'm saying, hey, we shouldn't be, you know, I'm not to know. You know, it is such a mind game that you could, you know, but I'm guessing that if I'm seeing it all that way, that I'm a little bit on the right track that way, that it must be real, because why would I want to let go of what I like? I'm honestly saying I like some of these things. These things appeal to me. These packages that I've had in my life, even the people that come in a certain package, I've liked the look of them. I like them. I still do. But now I see them as fake, as a deception to trick me into thinking a certain way. So whilst I still like them, I have to keep a distance more from it now. Just for my own, just for the fact that it's the truth. Just for the fact that you can be seduced. Satan seduced us, as they say it, as it says even in the biblical thing. Satan will come to you, as the controllers of this world do, in the form that will entice you the most. The devil will not come as a devil, because that will not entice a human being. It might entice a few, but it won't entice the vast majority. It will have to come in a deceptive form that entices you at a level that appeals to you. It will have to trick your mind. It will have to make you do something that you wouldn't normally do. Even if you think you're doing good, as I say, in this world, you are operating for the matrix, because that's how it works. Whatever is your weakness, whatever is your strength, everything will be used and manipulated against you to get you to do whatever the Matrix wants the Matrix to go. Whatever they want you to do, they will use your weaknesses, your strengths, anything that is good or bad about you to manipulate the Matrix, because they understand the mind. They understand how the human being thinks, and the humans have given that over to them down through the centuries. So therefore, it is not their world, it is not their mind anymore. And even the very people that I might be talking to, including myself, you know, I might sort of go up to someone and think I'm telling them something good to wake them up. But chances are the Matrix knows that person I'm talking to more than I know them. I might have good intentions, but chances are, you know, unless I've really got the whole picture together, it probably won't turn out to be a good move. And this is, you know, the trick and the deception, which it really means that you have to really distrust everything, but not distrust human beings, but be aware that they are deceived. Not dislike them, but say, hey, I say now that was me not long ago. Except that some might have been even worse than me, because I was probably more guilty myself by ignorance and by not wanting to get involved in anything, just by letting things slide, going with the flow, as people say. I was very much like that. I didn't always agree with most things, which meant that if someone had actually given me a choice and said, hey, you can wave your magic wand and change the world from this, you could pull down the this or that, I would say, yes, I would. But because I knew I didn't have that ability or was not going to be given that power, I would say, well, okay, I'll leave it up to other humans to decide. And that's a mistake too, but at the same time, that's what we all do. But others probably, you know, would be more active than me and have more opinions and be more interested in what's going on. But I'm distracted by the Matrix right now. When I say the Matrix, I mean the world around me. What is going on, even just, you know, like I'm looking over there, because I know that even if the dog moves or if a bird flies over, now you're going to say, hey, I'm getting airy-fairy, but it is not airy-fairy. The Matrix controls everything. The nature has not only taken over the human being, but it also controls every living thing now. Human beings are meant to control, or not control, but interact with every living thing in this. That was the living library originally, meant to interact with all life forms. They are connected to all life forms, not dead forms like technology, which they're now connected to, okay? Nature is life forms, human is a life form, technology is death form. Technology is only it's an artificial creation of a dead way of thinking, a dead God that lives in death. He's a God, but he lives in negativity, in death, and he wants human beings to be like that too. He likes human beings who live in death, who think negative, who behave negative, and who turn against other human beings for any reason whatsoever. It doesn't take much to turn some human beings that way. Any excuse, even a moral excuse, even a good excuse, even doing something good can sometimes be still a reason to do something bad. A bit like when you go and fight a war. And you say, I don't believe in killing, but hey, I'm going to kill these people because this is morally correct. And you know it's not really, but you do it. And this is because you are operating for the matrix. You're not operating for yourself. You're not thinking for yourself. You're not saying, hey, I as a human being will not do that under any circumstances. I might push something away or try to prevent myself from being harmed if it's right. But once you start doing it but even that is still a delusion of the matrix too, in a funny kind of way. I would have to really go airy-fairy here once again, but I'm going to say that also is a bit of an illusion, because human beings at their full power not only would not think like that and would not do that and would not need to do that under any circumstances, not in the original human library that started out from the beginning, before intervention, before all this mind messing around, this mind confusion. It was never like that, because also the human being, I'm guessing, at its full potential, can protect itself without violence, without actually having to destroy what's in front of them. They can do that too. They do have that potential, but they would have no need to. They could just protect themselves. And by that I mean, it'd be a bit like, and I'm being airy-fairy here, but it'd be a bit like you're about to destroy me, right? With radiation, say, which is what happens anyway with this world, because it is a radioactive world now. I want to say that. But, because everything that is vibrating around in the world is radioactive. It's radio, and it's active, and it is alien to the natural, authentic human being. But that's the world we live in now, and we embrace that, and we think that's good. But I've lost my train of thought. If I was going to be attacked, and if I was at my highest level, which I'm not, I'm right down here, so that means I'm open to attack and I can be wiped out. Whereas if I was up here, I could protect myself from any outside force. So I wouldn't have to attack. I would just set up a shield around myself, you could say. That would be an ability almost. I know that sounds airy-fairy, but that's because we don't understand what we are and the science of how it works. I don't either. But that's the potential. See, humans don't have to. This physical destructiveness is all part of the matrix. That is part of the God entity. He operates that way, and he likes humans to operate that way. It keeps us in the matrix, it keeps us mentally inferior, and it keeps us mentally destructive, even when we think we're doing good, because humans have to be convinced to do bad through something good, because they are spiritual beings. They don't really want to do bad. They don't really want to not live. They don't really want to be negative. They really want to be positive. They want to create a good existence for themselves while they're here stuck in this domain. And it shouldn't be even this, what I just said, stuck in this domain. It should have been a beautiful living library. But now it is really stuck in this, where you want to get out, because it is the exact opposite to what it was originally meant to be. And only the most negative humans are actually content here in it. And they're only the ones that have got the most goodies, because they've had to throw away most of their humanity in favour of the goodies to survive and to actually make a comfortable physical existence in this fake hell-like earth that it now is. Because nothing in it is ours anymore. We are not in contact anymore with even the authentic natural world. We're carrying on about all that, some of us now, but it is not ours anymore. It is totally taken over by the matrix. The natural world is not ours anymore. And I'm not talking about us changing it. I'm saying it is physically, technically controlled by the matrix. Every aspect, without exception. So if I go outside and look and try to get back in contact with nature, which is what I think we should do, but it's impossible to do that because there is no natural world almost now. It is controlled by technology. Even the natural world is under the domain of the matrix. This is what's happened over a period of time, and we have allowed that to happen accidentally. We did not know it. I didn't know it. I see it now, but I didn't know it. And I have stretched it to that level because I have observed that. But a lot of people are so stuck on their mobiles and their computers that they're not going out even into the open. And it's hard to where they actually see that even the natural world is not natural anymore. And this could well come back at us quite strongly too, I might add, because nature is our friend. And all the life on this world is our friend, or was our friend. And it also has turned against one another too, just as we have. This is all part of the matrix too. Like when you see animals attacking other animals, that also is not natural, just as it's not natural for humans to attack other humans. This is what I believe, because the living library originally, this is what I've been informed, was where everything was in harmony. All life forms were in harmony. Humans were, obviously at, there again, I don't like to put levels on things because that's exactly what the God entity likes to do. We have all these hierarchies, certain people at the top, then here, then the rest of us right down here. And this is not how it should even be in nature. Sure, some animals and some life forms have different abilities over others, but that doesn't make them better or worse. It's just all a harmony because we were all one, if you like to look at it that way, and that's how I've always looked at animals anyway. Even that, that's probably one of my better points. But at the same time, I might say, oh well, some people might say, well, humans are more intelligent than a cockroach, and that would seem logical. But that is only because that is not something that, if you were in the living library, that you would actually think. It might even be a certain, there might be some truth to it, but it's not how you would look at it. It would just be that it's all there for a purpose and you're all connected and everything serves for the whole, that type of thing. But we will be tricked even in the future, I would say, even with that idea. But we will be tricked to think that we can all be one through technology and that we can do everything and make the world harmonious and as it was meant to be with technology. This is garbage. Have to say it. Don't like to use the word, don't like to be blunt, but this is no way. It is the complete opposite. It is the annihilation of everything that is natural. Don't care what argument you want to put up to me, you can do it. I'm going to be blunt. And you're entitled to it. And if you want to go into that world, into that future, that is your choice and your right and your privilege. But don't ask me to come with you is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You'll have to go there on your own or with your followers, with your gang, with your other humans that agree with that are comfortable with it and that do not mind walking into what I would call extinction. That's what I think, but that will be your choice and your right, and I do not have any ability to stop you. I'm just saying that I think we have gone completely away from what we originally were, and that it is a totally alien, literally, future, and it is not a human future at all. That's about it. Okay. Thank you if anyone's listened, and my final thing would probably be to say that the only real way is to go inside yourself and figure things out for yourself. Try to think, even be idealistic if you want, but don't act on it. But just see what's going on around you and say. Also, I will say this, I'm just going to finish off. You must remember that, bear in mind that if you are being idealistic, you are really not being idealistic. You are actually being realistic if any of the things that I'm saying are true. If we're spiritual beings in a physical body, here temporarily, only meant to be here in this physical domain, here temporarily, but we are spiritual beings, so if we are spiritual beings, then we are eternal. Okay? Our thought creates reality and we're all connected. And everything is frequency, vibration, and energy. Frequency and vibration is the key to the human being, and we are all connected to life, natural living things. This is, if you take that as being the truth, then the way we live and the way we think about everything is actually wrong, in the sense that if we do everything on this earth while we're here for security and for safety of our human body, we are kind of a joke. And we are a joke to the beings that control it, because they know this. So they know that if you are fearful for your body and you're doing things that restrict yourself while you're here to protect your body, say, they find that a joke, because they're like, why would a spiritual being be fearful for their body when they are really immortal and really eternal? They don't really have to fear for their body. Even if they get killed, they're not killed, they're just moving back to where they really come from, because this is their temporary hell experience to help them, shall we say, to, it's a tough thing. I even find it hard to believe that this is some sort of test and some sort of advancement for us, but whether it's an accident or whether you really are meant to benefit from it, but certainly it's a spiritual lesson in some way. And it's allowed to be that way, whether it wasn't I don't think it was originally meant to be like that. No, the Living Library was the opposite, but it's happened that way, and it's been allowed because even the Living Library was left up to the human beings to have free choice. Okay, so we weren't meant to be overtaken. We weren't meant to allow technical beings into our domain. We did not do that. It happened. And we were unaware because we were meant to be safe and closed off, but unfortunately, something went wrong there. Now, because of that, our safe haven and the development of the Living Library has been destroyed, and we went the opposite to a non-living, shall we say, technological fake library that we really have now. So we have nothing. We have no scope for advancement in this fake technological unliving library, I would say. It is a living library in the sense that we're still here and we're doing stuff, but it is not proper life. It is everything that is the reverse of what was meant to take place and what should have developed. Anyway, I'm exhausted, so I better close off before, it's hard for me to comprehend too, so I'm no doubt that unless you're already on that kind of wavelength or that a little bit more waking up to something, it probably sounds quite bizarre, and it's more than bizarre, but it's, it's what is the real world now. At least I think so anyway. And I certainly don't want it to be so, so I'm guessing that unless I'm under great big delusion, it must be true. because if you don't like something and you want to actually turn it round and you actually want to bury your head in the sand, it really must mean that there must be truth in it. But the truth does set you free. But the truth is not always going to be pleasant if you've been denied your true reality for so long, then it is going to come as a shock. And if you've let the world slip away from us, as we have, and it's not our domain anymore, then the truth is something that a lot of people are going to avoid. And they're going to fight against the truth because it is just too much of a shock for them. But unfortunately, like if you do like I've did my whole life, where you just go with the flow, or even just ignore the flow, just let everything slide and say, leave it up to everyone and anything else, if in light of what I've said is true, and that this is a matrix, and that we have no dominion over it, really, mentally, physically, or any way. If we just let it slide, it will slide all right. And even as spiritual beings, if we get trapped here, stuck in this fake reality, in this fake control simulation type world that is governed by an entity that merely sees that we either serve, or we're playthings, or we're food, shall we say, for the negative food energy for the entity, then you can see yourself that we're looking very much at the spiritual human beings that are here will be trapped here forever, and but it will be a very limited existence, even if you survive. It will not be free at all. It's not now, and it hasn't been for a long time, but less and less so. And spirit implies that you can be safe and secure and trapped. But the reverse of that is spirit free. But if you think in terms of security and safety and protection of your body, and don't acknowledge what you are, you will go for the trap, the safe, secure mind and body trap, which will keep you stuck here, and will, unawares to yourself, you'll become more and more limited, and more eventually to where you will not be free at all. You will not be a spirit anymore, if you know what I mean. Because you have to be a free spirit, literally. That's what humans really seek to be, want to be, and need to be. It's in their essence, it's in their very being. Anything else is fake and of the matrix. The matrix is technical, the matrix is fake. Okay?